different individuals stepping up at different moments, that kind of thing. So I think there's definitely a formula there for Virtus Pro that might work, but here we are on map 3, ready to find out if VP can become the Vitality killers for IEM Chengdu, or at least the Vitality knocked down into the lower bracketers, or if they themselves will be getting knocked down into the lower bracket.
You had it right the first time. 9 players set up around A though, and Flamesy starts things off very well for Vitality.
Yeah, is that going to be a metaphor for something more throughout this half? We'll find out. VP up to their usual tricks, and that is to say not up to a whole lot actually on the T side.
They're quite comfortable with silence. Quite comfortable to just wait a little bit longer and see if anything will change. And indeed, something will change. Aggression from Vitality. Flash. 2 players dive their way into the ramp. Flamesy having a think about going in for a second helping. But instead, feels he's been satiated enough for the moment.
Apex gets a little bit of damage there onto Perfecto, but nothing really of note. It is going to be the A hit. And Vitality have plenty of members there to defend, and Rops gets away with a little too much. So this pistol round on the CT side is going to go comfortably the way of Vitality, and that is really not what you want to be seeing for the health of this map, I'd say.
No, definitely not. Bist has made a meal of that one. Catches 2 players not looking at him creeping out of Palace and can't connect a single frag there. It's a round that starts off poorly and continues to spiral further out of control for a Virtus Pro that has been quite competitive today, has won themselves their fair share of pistols. That one was just a non-starter.
Bit slow out the gates there for VP out of the T-spawn. But not really much to be too concerned about, considering this is a full save pretty much. Flit's got himself that P250, but really nothing of note for VP. So seems like they're going to have a chat.
Seeing Zaiwu just take the dualies into this round, so really wanting to build that ult fund nice and early on. He's been a player that's been pretty absent thus far in this series, so if he really turns it on in this third map, that's something that honestly VP might not know what to do about.
Yeah.
He's not really been a player that VP have had to worry about yet today.
100%.
So if he really starts turning it on here on Mirage, I don't know if they're going to know what to do with themselves. They already had a number of problems against Rops's Orb last map.
Yeah, I mean, just to back up your eye test with some stats, Zaiwu's the lowest rated player for Vitality in this series so far.
It's been 10 frags a map thus far.
Yeah. Funnily enough as well, Bist is also the lowest rated player for VP so far. So both of the AWPers struggling to have the impact they would want.
I mean, we had all eyes on Bist going into this series. Yep. I've quickly forgotten about him, to be honest. Fame was really drawing a lot of eyes in that map of Overpass. And then, look, Toro had some good moments. Flit has had some good moments. The calling's been good from Perfecto, even if the individual level hasn't necessarily always been there. You've seen a couple of key whiffs from him.
They might be able to get a bomb plan here if they can get out of apartments. And it looks like that's just going to be denied by Apex. Quick rotation in there from Vitality. All good in the end, so not a single kill yet in the map for VP.
Some smiles there for Vitality, looking a little bit more confident after how those first 2 rounds have gone. Feeling like they are well and truly back in control of things. But we'll see if Virtus Pro can continue to put on some good T-side rounds, or if they have kind of run out of steam a little bit. It was some masterful calling on the T-side of Overpass. Started off well, but then once we started to get into the later stages of the game, the calling was actually quite poor from Virtus Pro. I feel like really tried to force the mid to B approach over and over again when it really wasn't working. I mean, part of that was just down to the money that they had to work with. They didn't really have many other options to run a slower round or a more drawn-out default against a fully kitted CT side. So we'll see what the Mirage T side is going to be looking like. Early contest in towards B. You're already boosting up a player outside of Windows. Zaiwu up the ladder. Comes alive early here for Vitality, and that is going to be problems for Virtus Pro. Continuing to deliver here.
Oh no, oh no, it's happening. Zaiwu is online. He's got himself the 3K, looking for more. Gets a bit more greedy than perhaps he should have, as he will eventually fall to fame, but you've got the insurance policy of Mezzi. And luckily also of Apex and Flames. So 3-0 for Vitality. Couple of inroads made there by VP, but realistically speaking, I think Apex has summed it up nicely.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen ZywOo multi-frag with the AWP yet today. So in the opening round to see him...
That's a shot.
Yeah, that's a very nice one. I mean, he brought the dualies into the anti-eco. It's very clear that he wanted to get the AWP online. I think, honestly, after how the first two maps have gone, might have been pulled aside by Apex or Xtaz and said, like, all right, man, like, 2 maps of ZywOo off is something.
Oh, Robs has got a problem with his monitor there. It's
no, he's saying good job to it. He's giving it a nice pat. He's saying, you've been very good today.
I was looking at him. He was like checking the height of the monitor. Because, you know, now on these new Zoe monitors, they have like the measurement basically as to how high, you know, you want to have it. And he seems like the kind of guy that knows down to the millimeter exactly where he wanted it to be. And I think it was a little bit too high.
Yeah.
He was really sussing it out.
Yep. Long gone are the days of, you know, players like Top Gun just rocking up and being like, oh, whatever.
How many people...
I'll just use it.
How many people even remember Top Gun?
Probably not that many.
Like that's a reference that, especially considering we're speaking to...
It's like more than 10 years
audience.
ago now, but like there are definitely players back in the day that would just... I mean, it's so professionalized nowadays, esports, but there are players back in the day that they would just rock up, be like they wouldn't even have a config or anything, you know?
Yeah.
They just rock up, be like, oh yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Off we go.
We'll try this sense today. See how we're feeling. Default crosshair. I'll give it a go. Seems good.
Yep. What about mouse color? I mean, that's starting to become a thing now too. My mouse has always been black, but now you can get white, red, pink, yellow. I've seen yellow. Would you have a yellow mouse? I think yellow is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Highlighter yellow, highlighter orange, traffic cone orange.
I mean, look, I actually like the highlighter orange there for VP. Like I said, it's giving traffic cone.
It's giving Aussie tradie on a Friday afternoon, smashing down a meat pie at the servo.
Absolutely. He's had his sickie, he's had his V, he's ready to go.
Toro's got the haircut for it too, actually.
It's true. I mean, if there were any players that were going to have like bright orange hair, it would be Chinese players, it would be Russian players.
Right.
Those are the only players that I've seen dye their hair an egregious color. I don't think Toro's full natty there, though. He would definitely fit in with the Weasleys, but that's a story for another time. I'm also ginger, so I can say it, guys. There's the Molly interconnector. Tech's coming up on close. We'll see what Fame will deliver.
Bit of damage here and there. The kill actually onto Apex in the end. A double kill. Okay, maybe something of interest here for VP to sniff on, but something to get rid of Flamesy, which they are able to do. Bomb plant going down now as well. ZywOo not able to deny that. Oh, he is actually able to deny it.
He's put the fear of God in them for now.
Yeah,
that will go down.
Terrified, apparently.
Nonetheless, Bist has copped a little bit of a nade, so he is quite low. He doesn't want to cop another spam. You've still got a player hanging around in underpass. They couldn't get involved late in the piece. And Vitality are taking a very long time to get on into the site here.
Maybe too long. That's an important kill for ZywOo, but he needs another, and that USP is not delivering. Smoke's going to go down a little bit too deep, I think. I don't think it's covering the bomb. It's covering short. Oh, Toro gets it done.
Stepping up when it was needed. These are the two players that have been delivering the most impact for VP today. It's Fame to start it off. A 2K for him, and he hands another dink to Flamesy before he does go down. Beautiful shooting on the Tech 9, and then Toro was the standout there on Dust 2. And is the player to close it out in the 1v2. It must have been a millisecond off the defuse there.
Very close.
You could see a little bit of trigger discipline on the Tech 9 there. He's not panicking and getting hot under the collar.
Spamming, yeah.
Yeah, it can be very easy to just like send it a little bit when you know that you're really running out of time. But Toro keeps his cool. And a first round for VP in unlikely circumstances. The damage done to the economy with the Tech 9 is palpable. You can see it there, the reset potential on Vitality.
Yes, it is. But it's also still going to be a bit of an uphill battle here for VP. You know, they don't get off to the start that they want. So going to have to wrestle control of this half back away from Vitality if they really want to test them. ZywOo's got the AWP out again, but no util behind it.
This round would be a big one for VP to be winning. Definitely make this game, once again, neck and neck, as we've seen the majority of today. This is a very Virtus Pro round, though, to open things up here. Spread around the map. Not really doing too much of anything early on. Have seen them time and time again boil it down to 30, 40 seconds on the clock before they actually decide to get a wriggle on. Vitality holding on a fair bit of util there.
Yep.
They're going to be well aware of these tendencies by this point in the series.
There's the solo holding B at the moment. Rops is in somewhat of a pivot position on ladder.
Fame throwing a one-man fake out A here. Hasn't really drawn too much interest from Vitality, to be honest. They're still just sitting in their setup.
Fame's going to actually have a look, though, and that might be where you do see some of that interest come through. Or, with a kill like that from ZywOo, the jig is up for Mezzy as well, apparently. But a good grenade is really going to soften the targets here. Rop's only going to be good for one in the end, and somehow, some way, VP have actually managed to get themselves a bomb plant down on B. That did not look like a round that they were going to make work, but they have actually managed to do so.
I mean, Fame going down there is kind of a non-factor when you're able to crack open the small side. And you've seen Virtus Pro have a similar approach to this a couple of times today. They are very comfortable just boiling down the mid-round and simplifying things, just saying, like, we're just going to throw a fake out A, see what you can get done, and then we try to hit that very sharp timing into B, and if we're able to get the entries and trade out, having pulled that rotation earlier on, even if it's not a full commitment of a rotation, I mean, you're never even really expecting that against a team of Vitality's caliber. You even just expect, even just one extra player, not on that B side of the map, and then we just trade out effectively, we can win rounds like these. Another 2K from Toro. The first two close out a round for VP, and that too will secure yet another round, more so on the entry. Lovely stuff. Good molly over there onto balcony. Does crack open the setup, and well traded by Toro. That's the round that they were looking for, Jordan. Does break the economy of Vitality, but when you do have an 8K on Flamesy and an AWP on ZywOo, who has started to warm up in this series, you can't take these rounds for granted.
100%. ZywOo going to set himself up in middle as well. Going to try and get into the action early on in the piece, but VP have no interest in heading in that direction. Once again, it is going to be Bully the Brit.
Let's see if he's feeling like a merry man or whether he's a little bit sad. Scurrying away back to NBK, but there's flames behind him, both figuratively and literally. As his teammate scurries back out of market, not even thinking about the rotation of Vitality.
Yeah, instant save call.
I mean, his flames over on that flank, actually. Maybe looking for some damage, if anything, and just to hold on to those rifles. Totem, boost up rather, pole position for Flip. It's out a player in con. But Apex going down, that was just the USP.
Yeah.
They're not really going to mind too much about that.
Yeah, they've just sent the pistols there to go and have a bit of a look, see if they can find an upgrade. It's not going to happen.
It's another nice timing towards B. Virtus Pro, I mean, cracking it open in the last after an A fake, and then once again, an early round timing towards B anti-eco. These kind of anti-eco rounds can be good rounds to condition your opponent and show your tendencies and your comfortability towards what site you want to be leaning towards. They have good money now, Virtus Pro. I think the recovery after that Tech 9 round put together by Fame and Toro has really changed the game here.
Yep. Yeah, it's good to see VP continuing to test Vitality here. It's been a much more enticing series than what we would have anticipated when we started watching this game.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's good competitive Counter-Strike early on in the tournament.
I mean, one of the lowest seeded teams against one of the best seeds, and you're getting a series this competitive. Bodes well for the rest of the tournament.
Yep.
There's the change up for Vitality, though. ZywOo on the extremity. On that deep info line all the way down B apps, which is going to allow Vitality to do exactly this. Much more heavily stacked up in towards the middle of the map. Multiple riflers looking to try to disrupt and contest this default.
Flit almost gets himself something there, but Flamesy on his way out to safety, and now that flash is going to be the undoing of the offensive initially. Good trade in from Bist. Need more of that, but Flames on the off angle. Catching Fame, and now it's starting to fall apart a little bit for VP. They're not finding quite the inroads that they need. It's good coverage from that short position. Somehow Flames has just danced his way around the A side. He's back at triple now. But the fact that he has survived has been what has put a stop to this one for Virtus Pro.
Same position for Toro, but he put a 1-on-2 together, but a little bit too much to ask when he's caught a nade that hard. Cleaned up well by Flames. Good recovery from Vitality to take a fourth. Virtus Pro, plenty of cash on this T side to be able to recover from that, though. They are going to continue to chip in more T side gun rounds. Great flash from Flames in towards connector there. I felt like Flit may have had a timing in that round, but quickly denied by Vitality.
A few perplexed looking faces maybe there for VP, if I'm reading into the body language a bit too much. Maybe some harsh words going around as well.
Clearly had a certain idea of what they wanted to do there, and it didn't necessarily get executed in the way that they would have wanted, is kind of the read that I was getting from that. And you saw that in the server. They had a definitely pretty strong mid to A approach going for themselves. Flit was deep up connector. I mean, he's had a tough time getting into this game, and he's the one who gets isolated by the flash play. So I think, look, maybe a couple of stern words headed in his direction. But it really felt like he was kind of saying, like, I got this, just relax. I'll get it under control.
Yep.
This round hasn't started well for him. You know, you can see from the facial expression after catching a couple of nades there that it really kind of is spiraling bad to worse.
It seems like it's getting a little frustrating for VP, but early days.
Once again, does seem like they are trending in the direction of that B site. Well, no, actually making moves towards underpass. So maybe a bit more pressure on the middle of the map. At least for Vitality, though, it's a full retake setup on this A site. I think if it does get tested, it's just going to be Flames to play retake there. See both Robs and Apex set up towards connector. May contest mid hand in hand with Mezzy, because once again, Zywoo's been posted up on this B side of the map. It's rifle-centric gameplay towards middle.
Nice pop flash into connector. Smoke to top con as well. It's going to be answered by a bottom con molly, but of course the molly burns out a little quicker than the smoke does, so that territory is still going to go the way of VP.
30 seconds.
Apex is having a look in toward middle here to see what he can do, but it's all about Mezzy right now. Apex does ultimately strike on the back end. That offensive has been ripped apart in the blink of an eye.
I mean, Virtus Pro just don't have an answer for Vitality's setup right now. Zywoo posted down B-ups, and all of these riflers inside of middle, and it really just feels like they wait for the first player to take contact with Virtus Pro, and that's kind of the go signal. As soon as Mezzy makes contact from Cat here, that's where the rest of Vitality just dive out and get involved. Apex, straight out a window. The con players swing together. They're just waiting for Virtus Pro to make a move in the mid-round, and as soon as they do, it's all guns blazing. Every player fighting together. Back to what was working before. Looking for another beat timing, which means it will once again be Mezzy to defend.
Yeah. The old B-Apps jump spot. He actually gets a nice kill there onto Fame. And he's given himself a little bit of a room as a result, which is quite important because Toro is starting to work his way onto that side. But Mezzy with a fantastic 3K. And then the transition coming through from Zywoo and Apex to finish it off. It's looking like Vitality are well and truly back in control.
Yeah, it feels like they're just out macroing Virtus Pro on this CT side right now. Like I said, the mid setup was working well. You've seen these slower mid-control kind of setups from Virtus Pro and making moves into Cat in the mid-round, and then the only other real success factor you've seen from them was over towards this beat site. It's a fast FUD from Vitality to immediately defend that. Gonna have to see a little bit of a more different approach, a different timing for Virtus Pro, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Quick pacing, straight up cat there from Flit. He's found the timing. It's a flurry of kills in the kill feed, but it's still one down for Virtus Pro.
That's bad news. Haven't been able to recover from these numbers deficits so far on the map. This one might look a little more achievable. Perhaps a bomb plant open to them if they can clear out CT spawn, and that flash was a good one, but Rob's playing anti-flash, makes short work of it. Yes, it's a bomb plant for VP, but nothing more than that.
Just the small details, isn't it? That one player being anti-flash, really saving the round there for Vitality. Could have easily been a 2K for Toro off the back of a perfect flash over from Firebox. The Vitality able to work their way through a difficult situation, a messy start to the round. Majority of those kills happening in mid and A ramp. Vitality, though, up 7-3, really does feel like they're starting to dominate Virtus Pro a little bit. Most of these maps, Dust 2 and Overpass, started with Virtus Pro front running. We haven't had to see them fight from behind yet. I'm not sure they're going to have it in them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. You know, we've constantly counted VP out throughout this series from the outset. We have been proven wrong in a couple of instances. Maybe this will be another one of them as they try another flood onto B. And this time they get the better of both Messi and Rops. The openers go the way of VP, and that is a big difference maker. This should be round done and dusted.
It's the same names that roll off the tongue for Virtus Pro. Toro and Frame finding one each on the entry in towards B. Vitality, though, they've got plenty of cash. They could buy up the last 2 gun rounds of the half, so they are going to go for this one.
Interesting. Flit in ladder room will be cleared out. Nicely timed there by Apex, but this door push will be a little more difficult. 1-for-1 there. As Perfecto does get taken down. Still numbers to find, and time is really running away from Vitality here. Apex has kind of got himself stuck in the fight. He's going to keep on having a bit of a look, but Zaiwu is out of there to retain the AWP.
Trying to take as many guns away from VP as they can. As VP have got no cash in reserve heading into the last round of the half here, so could see that Vitality were very much trying to make that as expensive as possible. This B timing, though, Virtus Pro, stubbornness has not necessarily been their friend today, but at least in this case, works out well for them. Set up Fame and Toro in a position where they can find some entries, simplify down the game and get into the small site. Has been a recipe for success for Virtus Pro. Into the B side of Overpass in the late portions of the round on Dust 2. Finding that B timing before Rob's got the AWP out. What are they going to show us into the last round of the half? We've had 7 5s, all 3 halves, in the first 2 halves, rather. Could be another one if VP can scrape together another T-side round here.
Well, they've got the buy to do it.
Additional warp in CT spawn there. See if someone does want to pick that up later on.
Handy to have the choice.
Flit, the only player on the lurk here as the execute comes in towards A. He wants to try to activate in the mid-round, maybe trying to slip into Con. Fame, great timing out of A ramp, finds the entry onto Flames.
This might be where Zaibu's going to have to activate again from CT spawn. Flit, though, in the meanwhile, has been taken down. So we're back to a 4-on-4, but VP still flooding their way in onto that A side through the cover of the smokes. Vitality happy to let them get that bomb plan and play for the retake. There's a 1-for-1. Apex down, but he got his one before he fell. Rob's in as well for a trade. Now all of a sudden, numbers again favoring Vitality. That's an important kill for Mezzi through the flash. He gets Toro, which leaves just Perfecto. And again in a clutch, he's going to have to try and make it happen. Couldn't do it at the back end of Dust 2, but maybe here on Mirage, he can make it happen. Defuses on. Zaiwu will make it magical for Vitality. 8-4 at the end of the half. He gets that cheeky defuse in the smoke, and Vitality are feeling good on map 3. 4 in the third and final map is the scoreline. Vitality leading. VP need to find a way to lift here.
I mean, speaking of lifting, that's what you've seen from ZywOo. He's put 10 kills a map together in the first two. He's put 10 kills together in the first half and not had too many issues. A lot of AWP shots connecting as well. He has definitely come online here right when he's needed for Vitality, and it seemed like they want to show VP that they can do exactly what was done to them in the first half. Creeping up for this contact. Exploited by Perfecto will keep the safe for now. A lot of players on cap that could be there for a quick eye from Virtus Pro.
Perfecto ready to stand and deliver. He's only got the USP in hand here, so he's going to have to hit some headshots. And takes the time to actually drop off to Van instead. Well, Vitality are waiting very patiently. Get that molly through, and now the flood ensues. The flashes over the top. Bist can't see anything. He does have some backup on short, but nobody landing the shots. Finally, Fame and Sto chiming in. Was looking okay until ZywOo just does something. I don't even know how he's picked up all three like that. And he gets Toro as well. Well, we were asking, you know, where is ZywOo? He had a bit of a slower map 1 and 2. He's arrived, that's for sure.
He's back. Big 4K in the pistol round. Hope we get to see a replay of this. Looked like he was spinning around on every angle.
Yeah.
Perfecto, 1 bullet in the mag. Does dive out off that contact to Fame, and Fame rather, and he just gets 180.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Nice double peek to close out the round as well for Vitality. Another pistol for them. VP under the pump here, Jordan. They've started out every single one of these maps so well in this series, but Mirage has been a different story. We were kind of questioning, will they run out of steam as we head into the third map? And this series kind of right itself, and unfortunately, that is what it seems to be happening here. Versing a team as the big underdog after letting the second map slip through your fingers, a chance to 2-0. You lose both pistols and the star player starts going ballistic. I don't think there's much hope following that sometimes.
Vitality taking the opportunity to work middle. Get Flamesy into connector. Flash into the smoke, and he's got some nice control. Mizzy, meanwhile, doing the same thing at a main.
Oh, yes. That's Flit's second kill. He was bullied so heavily, especially connector in that first half. So that's going to be a small reprieve. But outside of that, there's really not much else going on in that round.
It's a wooden spoon prize, if anything.
Well, it might be an ult for Bist.
Okay.
They wouldn't have the money for that, I don't think, off the single save. Would mean not a whole lot of utility in Flit's pocket. It's not a bad way to get a second kill, though. Is that the mental edge that he needs to start being a factor in this game? Indeed, the AWP will be dropped over to Bist here. Util's a little light for VP. Pressure into middle. Flit, unfortunately, not able to replicate any kind of disrespect post-knife kill. In fact, he is the one who is very quickly dealt with in the earlier portion of this round. Fame continues to deliver, though. Trades at least one back.
The smoke here as well will give Perfecto a bit of room to move, but it seems as though Vitality are all over that, and ZywOo and Apex just spam him to death.
It's unfortunate. I think he thought that the smoke would bloom enough for him to make it into the con smoke as the flash is coming in so that he can dive out of it, but it was enough of a gap for Vitality to work with there. Disjointed here from Virtus Pro into a ramp. Toro does find some information. Bist making his way back over towards that big site to join up with Fame, who is low but on an off angle here. Duel between Rops and Toro could be key to decide what's going to happen in the latter portions of this round.
Rops is definitely looking for it. Toro up for the challenge, it would seem. Molotov, meanwhile, pushing Fame off of his line. B site looking taken by Vitality, and A site also looking taken by Vitality. It's just Bist floating around. It will be the A side that they decide to go toward. And that means Bist is not really anywhere where he needs to be.
ZywOo, who's already on the hunt. He's heard the AWP, but he said, I'd love one of those. He's chilling in underpass. Bist. Oh, not able to connect the single scope. Rops will take the AWP out of his hands. He's maybe hung around for a little bit too much there. And looking at the scoreline and the money on VP, I'm not sure he's going to be able to replace that all this game.
How about that peak, though, from Rops?
I mean,
Jumping off stairs, con peek.
It's a classic kind of Rob's peak, really.
Yeah.
It's the small details, walking up close on the wall, and then swinging very wide to throw off your opponent a little bit. And that's just enough of an advantage to win him that duel against Beast. Only connected the dink with the Famous. Wasn't quite enough to convert a very key frag in that round. Mid control again here from Vitality. They're really starting to hammer the point home. Big stack up around middle for Virtus Pro. It's a retake setup on that A site. I'm looking at Beast with the Famous thinking that could have been an orb.
Could have, but would it have really made much of a difference at this point? Unfortunately, it doesn't feel like it. Rops trying to stand and deliver. It will be the grenade from Apex that ends up getting the job done on the player at Ticket. But meanwhile, ZywOo again waltzes his way out onto middle and claims 2. He's 18-2.
He's dominating them. Perfecto's got a Mag 7. I've seen some Counter-Strike in my day, Jordan, but I don't think this is going to happen for him.
No, I'm not a believer. Maybe a 10-second smoke defuse is more likely than a 1v3 with a Mag 7, I would say.
He's maybe even just waiting for someone to walk into CT to give him an AK, but I think he's going to have to resign himself to the fact that he's going to end up with a Famous. Bit of a life metaphor, really, in a way.
Yeah?
Yep. You always want the AK, but sometimes you just end up with the Famous, man. Sometimes you end up with nothing. Apex cuts him down on the cross. And series point for Vitality. It feels like they are the ones that have a point to prove after how those first 2 maps went.
Just when you accept your lot in life, something comes along and is like, you know what, we'll make it even worse.
Yeah, come on, man. All right.
How about that?
Oh.
That's a gnarly shot, though. I mean,
great crosshair placement.
Perfecto, hard done by. But 12-4, unfortunately, not the map that VP would have wanted.
Yeah. Look, the Polar Bears starting off this series with a roar, but unfortunately they may go out with a whimper. Vitality very much humbling them. Once again, Flames flashed out of middle. VP were thinking about some aggression there, but have opted to walk the path of least resistance for now. Still set up quite heavily around Con, maybe waiting for some further moves here from Vitality into the middle of the map.
Yeah, Vitality happy to slow it down a little. Get their own smoke to bottom Con. It's a little bit deeper. We are going to see a push from VP that is very swiftly dealt with by Flamesy, but Flit gets himself a couple with the Famous. Meanwhile, though, A site relatively undefended, and Vitality have pounced upon that opportunity. Flit will have now been spotted out as well. He'll look for some chip damage with that grenade, and he gets it down to 83 HP is Apex, but still no inroads really being made by VP until Perfecto is able to strike, and they're waiting for Bist to walk his way through CT spawn.
They got to speed this up. I don't think they have a kit here.
Rubbs has got a molly. He's got a nade as well. That'll cause a bit of a problem later on in the round if he survives, which he doesn't. Into Sandwich, it's Mezzy that has to survive, and he gets himself the double. Is it enough? Maybe. Flit is going to hold this defuse, but I don't think he's got it. I don't know if he thinks he's got it either. VP down into the lower bracket. 13-4. Vitality will take the first series for themselves. It was a